Show your school spirit with a BTC Bank mascot debit card. For each swipe of your mascot debit card, BTC Bank donates 7.5 cents to the school represented on your card. It's a simple step you can take to have a big impact on your community at no cost to you. Stop by a branch today to get your mascot debit card and start making a difference immediately. Visit btcbank.bank to learn more. Member FDIC.
Green Hills Insurance, LLC of Bethany is a locally owned and operated independent insurance agency providing coverage since 1996. They're licensed to operate in Missouri, Iowa, and Kansas, offering competitive rates with top carriers. They can insure a wide variety of risks, including home, farm, auto, boats, RVs, equipment, business owners, commercial buildings, bonds, and more. Located on the south side of the square in Bethany, stop by or give them a call at 660-425-7900. At Green Hills Insurance, if you need it insured, they've got you covered.
All right, CF Rainey here on one of our Sports Central interviews on Bulldog Sports TV, brought to you by Harrison County Community Hospital. Joined for the first time this season with South Harrison Varsity Baseball coach Jaren VanMeter. And Coach, you guys so far 2-4 on the season, but it's interesting. You're a guy, you're a South Harrison guy. Your dad was a South Harrison guy. You and your brothers, South Harrison guys, and now you get a chance to be a head coach. And maybe just talk about that a little bit, your first opportunity to step in to be a head coach here with this baseball team.
It's been really exciting. I was privileged enough to be an assistant for a couple of years, which allowed to kind of circumnavigate some of the growing pains, but I think naturally being a first-time head coach, there's going to be growing pains. But it helps that I'm at the same field that I played at, so I know the ins and outs of it pretty well. I know where, all of the gaps are, where some dirt is looser than others, how the backstop plays. So it makes it a little easier to be able to kind of adapt, as well as we play in a pretty windy park with not a lot of wind blocks. So we're able to kind of see that at practice, and I was able to kind of, I'd say, prepare them a little bit for it. But being able to be where you're from definitely, I feel like, is a little bit of an advantage as far as, like I said, knowing the park, but also knowing the school. And I think right now, being able to bleed purple and white and coach purple and white and try and do the best I can with the guys I have to further them in their baseball career so they can do what they can for the purple and white, I take a lot of pride in that.
Yeah, and so it also becomes you're around those players, but high school, for the most part, every year you've got a different team, and so you've got a different team than the group that played last year, and maybe just talk about early in the season because right, you're only 6 games in, a couple weeks in here, uh, trying to put all those pieces together. And you've obviously, and we'll talk about here in a minute, you started to see some successes as those pieces find their right place in the puzzle. And just when you took over, looking at the team from last year and who you had this year, just how you approached putting that together.
Well, I was lucky enough to have a lot of returners. I think we have, of the 9 starters this year, 7 of them returning that played varsity time last year. Some of them are not in their same places, and that was kind of a little bit of a struggle there at the beginning with trying to figure out where do these guys fit the best, because some of them had to sit behind older varsity players for a couple of years, which is tough, but they kept working in the couple of years I was an assistant before that, kept clawing and grinding to get this opportunity, and they're running with it. That we're not returning varsity players. This is their first varsity speed, their first game speed, and first feel of varsity baseball. So just like me as a head coach, there is plenty of growing pains to start the year, trying to figure out where people belong, how they fit, where they should be in the lineup, where their comfort zones are. But like you said, yeah, we're starting to kind of get comfortable in those positions and find our footing with varsity speed and starting to see a lot of improvement, which they've been working for the entire year, and I don't see them stop working for that. And we're starting to find some of that success. It's starting to pay off for them, fruits their labor.
Yeah, and so it's one of those things. You start out the season, you go down to Lone Jack for a jamboree. Then you get lost, and you go to a good lost team. Anytime you're playing one of those KCI schools, you know you're going to have good competition. You end up losing that 2-8, and then we broadcast that game up at North Harrison, and you end up losing that game. But it's a game. And I know you could say this in a lot of sports, but especially baseball, right? Just a couple plays, because I was talking to some North Harrison families afterwards, and they were thankful they were able to get away with that win that night. Sometimes just hitting it right to someone or a couple little errors can cost you a loss. Maybe talk about those two games and what you can learn in a loss um, here early in the season, especially.
Well, those first two games, I think, I hate to repeat myself, but we saw a lot of those growing pains and that adaptation to varsity game speed. And, you know, losses hurt, and they should. If you want to win, they should hurt. But what I saw and what I learned about my team and what I think they learned about themselves and each other was they didn't kick the dirt. They didn't, hang their head and give up and think, oh boy, it's going to be a rough season. They came back to practice after that Monday, Tuesday, back to back week there, kept digging, getting more reps in the infield, more fly balls in the outfield, more time on the tee, more time behind the L screen swinging, more time in live speed, and just kept working to get more and more comfortable. And I think that's the biggest takeaway is this team, they want to succeed, but they're not afraid to go through what it takes to sometimes get there, which is some of those tough losses that are only a play or two away.
Yeah, and then you come back and you get your home opener there at the end of March versus Milan, a GRC matchup, and you get a big win, 10-0. And another game that we were at with Bulldog Sports TV, and you start to see you'd shuffled a couple of guys, not necessarily out of the lineup, but just reworking the deck a little different positions, especially in the outfield. And you could see things starting to click in that Milan game. You end up winning 10-0, a shutout, and a whole lot of runs scored.
Yeah, it felt good. I think it felt good for me mainly, not just winning. Winning's great, but seeing those guys get that aha moment, like clicking, having better at bats at the plate, finding their footing in the field, and kind of seeing them smile like, oh, okay, it is worth it. It is going to be okay. And of course, it doesn't hurt that it was at home too.
Yeah, and then you uh, go to Maryville, a Class 4 team, bigger school, take one on the chin there. Then this week, you're at Marceline, so a long road trip. That's a game I wasn't able to attend. Maybe talk about that one, because 8-6 seems like a game that you guys were in, at least till the end there.
Yeah, that first inning at Marceline kind of mirrored the first inning at Lawson in game one. Long road trip, kind of sluggish. Did what we could to try and wake them up, but a 2-hour bus trip is hard to wake up immediately. And we kind of punted the ball around a little bit and gave up some pretty good shots to their meat of their lineup. And we could have hung our head. There was some time there at Lawson that I think we were still kind of timid following that, punting the ball around a little bit the first inning. But at Marceline, we picked ourselves up and we kept clawing away at it and put 2 spot here in this inning, put up a 2 spot in the next inning, and then kept clawing and digging and just we're right there on the verge. With a couple more base hits, we could have possibly tied or took the lead in that game and forced them to try and come back. But just like with the Milan game, it felt really good to see them realize, okay, we're okay. We've done this before. We've been here. We're comfortable in ourselves now enough to start clawing back. And it just didn't work out for us that night, but I think it picked us up and got us really confident for the next night.
Yeah, and playing back-to-back nights, which sometimes with rainouts and schedules moved around, just looking at your schedule, there's a few nights you've got those back-to-back nights. You get Maysville, which is in the GRC, been a team that's been at the top of the GRC for the last number of years. They come in with an 8-3 record, so a good team. You get them at home, and the weather was not great. We were out there. It was windy. It was cold. It was kind of sprinkling early. But you guys were able to get the 3-2 win. But it wasn't just that, Coach. There were times your team, in fact, I think at least 3 innings, maybe 4 innings, They had runners in scoring position, third, second, and third, and you guys worked your way out of those and ended up only giving up 2 runs on the game. Maybe talk about last night's game and how you guys were able to grit that out and come up with big hits from guys in the bottom of the order, big plays all around too, to get that 3-2 victory.
Last night was probably the most complete game we've played all year, and the guys, I'm happy for them because I've said it a couple times already, but they are grinding. Every time we have a practice day, they're in there the entire time. They want to go a little longer. They want to get more hacks in the cage. They want to take more ground balls. They want to work to get better. And we really hadn't played a complete game. Even the game against Milan, there was some situations where we kind of got a little timid again and let some things happen. But not last night. Last night we played really, really good. I mean, I think we had one error, which errors are a stat in baseball for a reason. It's a round ball, round bat, dirt field. It's going to happen. You just want to limit those and try and respond. And I feel like we did a really, really good job of that. At the plate, we moved runners. We worked small ball. We weren't trying to kill the ball and hit 400-foot shots in that wind and freezing cold. We were just putting it on the ground, making them make plays, moving runners. And we won 3-2. And that's a pitcher's duel. That's how baseball's meant to be played. That is beautiful baseball, and I couldn't be more happier for the guys.
Yeah, and so, right, you've got those guys, a lot of returning guys at the top of your order with Bryson Quinley, with Brody Templeton, Joel McCall, Ruger Johnson. You've got those guys that have been there and done that, and they all played well. Bryson pitched a complete game yesterday. But really, yesterday, I think what made the difference for your team, those guys are doing what they can. Brody Templeton, a big throw out from center field to home plate to save a run. But some of those guys at the bottom of your order, not just hitting, but out in the field as well. There were some huge plays. Gage Barclay, Case and King, some guys out in the field. Tallis Marshall out in left field, just consistently making plays. And maybe just talk about that for a moment, that it takes 9 guys, that it takes not just 3 or 4 guys at the top. It takes all 9 guys playing to get a victory over a good team like Maysville.
Yeah, you said it right there. It takes 9 guys every game. You can't just have one stud athlete and win a majority of your games. You've got to, some nights, have somebody pick up your slack. Baseball is a game that one night you may go 4 for 4 at the plate, and the next night you may go 0 for 4, and you got to have somebody pick those hits up. And it was very tremendous to me, and I, again, cannot be more proud for these guys. The bottom of the lineup last night was a lot of those guys that are in new positions or are seeing varsity baseball for the first time and are growing. And last night, if it was anything, it was aha, we're here. It was like a coming out party for that bottom of the lineup. They were able to realize, okay, this isn't as scary as it seemed at the beginning. These pitchers are throwing harder than what we've seen, but it's not going to kill us. It's not going to blow us away. If we put together a good approach, we can put it in play. In the field, they hit the ball really hard right at us. And sometimes we had to make plays. We had to shift to our right, to our left. But they realized, oh, okay, I am fast enough or know the game well enough to get to those plays. And that growth has been super rewarding for the guys. It's been super rewarding for us 3 coaches. And I cannot wait to see how they keep growing throughout the rest of the season.
Yeah, and I want to mention real quick because it was everyone. 2 names I did mention. I think I mentioned Tegan Alexander behind the dish did a great job. He came up with some big hits, and Corbin Heil there at third also able to get some offense going there from the bottom of the order. And then Carson Eads, the guy off the bench, came in to pinch run and was able to get around the base paths as well. So 10 guys all come together with your coaching staff as well to get that big victory. We'll preview just a little bit. You go to you get Faith Christian Academy, 11-0, a team, and when you play those private schools, sometimes it's just a different thing than playing a public school. Maybe just talk about what you're looking for heading into that game against Faith Christian Academy here at the end of the week.
Yeah, you're right. It's kind of a mixed bag when you get to some of those private academies. They can be super, super good, or they can be, a competitive team that you can play with. And we're not really sure yet, right? they look really, really good on paper. And being a private academy next to Kansas City, I'm sure they're going to be really, really competitive. And it's going to take our best game to play with them. But the growth we've been seeing over the last couple weeks and the game we saw last night, if we play that tight and in the field and play that well with approaches in the box, we can be in that game. And the beauty about baseball is if it's close, anybody can win on any given day. All it takes is one bounce one way or the other, and we could be running away at that thing. And that's the one thing I've been telling my guys the last couple of days is, yeah, they're 11-0. And yeah, they're an academy and they're private and they're next to the city, but we don't have to worry about them dunking over the top of us or outrunning us on a football field. We just got to square the ball up, throw strikes, and try our best to not commit errors and see where it lies at the end of the game. Just play fundamental baseball, and we could be in a good spot.
Yeah, and so good luck in that game, Coach. And the good thing is, and this is the way baseball, right? Baseball isn't football where just one game. I mean, obviously every game matters, uh, but there's so many more games in a sport like baseball that sometimes it evens out, and you're playing 500 baseball the last 4 games, which is a good place to be in baseball when you start getting a couple wins, and hopefully you can string some together here. We appreciate your time. I know Coach is doing this from home after practice, and we always appreciate the coach's time. Big thank you again to Harrison County Community Hospital, and Coach, good luck against Faith Christian Academy. We look forward to getting together again next week.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.